Good morning and welcome to our webinar on corporate planning. As part of corporate support, let me just say that I am so pleased to be a part of this webinar series. I think the message of Class 101 needs to be heard by anyone trying to go through the college planning process, and it's an honor to help you in any way that I can to help get your message out in your community. As franchise owners, we recognize the fact that you wear two hats. You're a college planner and you're also a business owner. So college planning is rewarding. That's the part that everybody sees. That's the part that everybody finds out about you. Oh, you're the college person. But what you're doing has to be revenue producing. It's your business. So our goal today is to help you with one tool to help you become more revenue producing. And that goal and that tool today is your calendar. I'm sure that many of you feel like you are slaves to your calendar. You're constantly flipping through. You're constantly trying to find places where you can squeeze meetings in or meet with students or work around what you've got going on in your personal life. Hopefully today, by the time we get finished, you won't feel like you're a slave to your calendar, but that you're the master of your calendar. Your calendar can be such an important tool for you. If I were better at this webinar and using good production value, I would probably have Neil Sedaka's Calendar Girl playing in the back, and maybe I'll do that post-production if somebody can help me. So I want to show you first today my new calendar. Hold on. There's my calendar. Sorry about that, little production problem. This is my new 2017 day planner. I looked for it for a long time. I considered different styles, and I told myself every year I'm going to wait until Target's comes out. But I got this one the other day, and I was really excited about it. Lindsay told me it was super cute, so I knew that I had made a good choice. So this is my planner for 2017. Now let me show you, this is a picture of my planners over the last 4 years. So you can see in my head, they're apparently growing in size and growing in importance. My calendar is becoming more of a tool. So you can tell that probably the main criteria I use for picking out my calendar is the cover. So that's my calendar, and I'm ready to go with that. Now I want to show you Tom's calendars. These are Tom's calendars. They are black at-a-glance calendars. They are dull. They are boring. But here's what else they are. They are a testament to a system that works. They're always the same. I can guarantee you that Tom spent 0 hours trying to decide what kind of calendar he wanted this year. And here's the other interesting thing about it. I looked through these calendars when I got them out. 1999 looks like 2002, looks like 2006, looks like 2012, looks like last week. If you open any page of these calendars, you can't tell 1 year from the next. There's a color coding system. I don't really understand the color coding system, but he does. 2-hour meetings are blocked out the same way. There's a system and there's a pattern, and this is a tool for him that works. When he gets it and it's delivered to him, he doesn't even go out and buy it. It's delivered to him in July. He starts writing in it immediately. So my goal for you is to help you create a calendar system that works as well for you as Tom's works for him. I realized that when I got my calendar, that the best time to fill out my calendar is now. There were lots of things that I already knew were going to be happening in 2017 that I could go ahead and put in my calendar. So I knew that I was ready for 2017, but more importantly, I knew that 2017 was ready for my calendar. So I started filling it out. And I was sitting in the doctor's office the other day filling out, I had gotten to the point where I was filling in corporate meetings. And somebody said, "Oh, you're so organized." And I stopped for a minute and I thought, because I don't consider myself an overly organized person, I think being organized, I consider it more like a personality trait, like you're assertive or you're outgoing, you're organized. And I don't really think that you can move that organization needle much. A study was shared with me one time that if you scaled yourself in terms of organization on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're a 2, you're never going to be a 10. You might get moved from a 3 to a 4, but being organized is really just something to me that is it's hard to change. So I thought, no, I'm really not organized. I'm getting prepared. And to me, prepared is an action. Even the most disorganized person can be prepared. The Boy Scouts have it right. The Boy Scouts don't say be organized. The Boy Scouts say be prepared. And when you think about it, you can use being organized as an excuse. You might say to somebody, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. I'm just not very organized. But it's more difficult to say to somebody, I wasn't prepared. That's an action that you can do. So hopefully this exercise that we're going to go through this morning is going to help you prepare for what's coming up with 2017. So whether you are a new franchise owner and you have a small list of clients, or you are more veteran and you are juggling a very, very large list of clients, everybody can benefit by spending some time in preparation. When you listen to our sales call, it says the first thing is that you're prepared. So we're going to work today on getting prepared. Let me stop right here and just say, I've shown you our calendars, and it doesn't matter if it's a paper calendar or it's a Google online calendar. I know there are two very definite camps about that, and I'm not judgy about that one way or the other. The process is still the same. What you have to do is find, like Tom did, a system that works for you. So I don't use an online calendar. I'll be real honest, it's not even on my top 10 list of things that I want to learn next year. My paper calendar works well for me. I do have fantasies of a shared calendar because my husband doesn't keep a calendar. So I always think, oh, wouldn't it be great if I could just have that and he could click on that. And maybe it'll happen sometime. But, like I say, it's not a big priority with me now. Regardless of the calendar that you use, this system will work, and this exercise that we're going through today will be helpful to you. I want to share a quote with you from Stephen Covey, and for those of you who know, he was Franklin Covey, the calendar people. And he says, the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. If it's important to you, you'll schedule it. You'll put it on there. I go to an event once a month, every Wednesday, first Wednesday of the month at 5:30. It's called a detour. It's here in town. You get to go to historic places, to homes, to businesses, to buildings, different places in Lexington, and you get behind the scenes tours, and you get to go to places where you might not otherwise have access to. And then afterwards, there's a happy hour. And I go with my dear friend, Judy. Judy's really, really important to me, and these detours are really, really important to me. And last year, I missed 3 of them because I didn't put them on my calendar. And then I had to call Judy and say, oh, I can't come. I'm too busy. Well, I really wasn't too busy. I just didn't schedule that priority. I didn't put it down. I thought, why do I need to put it on my calendar? It's the first Wednesday of the month at 5:30. How hard is that to remember? Well, when you start getting in the routine of things and you start looking, and I started scheduling students, I would go, oh, there's a great little place I could tuck a student. Let's put that there. And then I didn't get to go, and I didn't want to cancel student appointments. So I just didn't schedule that priority. So when I got my 2017 calendar, the first thing I did was go through and write my 12 detours for next year. It's important to me. I have a family reunion that I go to last week of September every year. I've gone for 25 years. It's a non-negotiable. That's the second thing I put in my calendar. So I would make sure that I didn't overbook, double book anything on it. I scheduled that priority. As college planners, so much of 2017 can already be set in place, and it's going to look very similar for all of us. We go through kind of a set routine. So much of what we already do is going to be already dictated. So what the interesting thing is that once you schedule an activity, there are a whole lot of supporting things that can then be put in place for you to get prepared for what's coming up. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to create your plan for 2017. We're going to fill out your calendar. So as you saw in the invitation that I put out, that if you have a calendar, go ahead and get it out, and you can go ahead and start writing as we go through this process. If you don't have one yet, you can listen to this webinar later, and then you can go out and get a really cute calendar like mine, or a really dull, boring calendar like Tom's, or get your online calendar ready and prepare for 2017. So like I say, we're going to go through a lot of these things that need to be put into your calendar, and we're going to play a lot of if you know, then you know. If you know one thing, then you're going to know a lot of other things. So the first thing that you want to put in your calendar is that you know that the Common App is going to open up on August 1st. So you're going to schedule that day. You're going to know that that's a day that you want to get those seniors in, and you want to start helping them fill out that Common App. So go ahead and put that on your calendar. You know that the Common App is going to open up August 1st. If you know that, then you probably know that August 2nd, August 3rd, August 4th, you're going to want to leave some time for that as well. Because if kids are not available right on the 1st of August, you can keep moving ahead, but you know that you can kind of schedule those August 1st and those couple days afterwards as days that you are really going to focus on the Common App. The second thing that you're going to want to put on your calendar is that you know that next year the FAFSA is going to open up on October 1st. Now, if you know that the FAFSA is going to open up on October 1st, you can already schedule time a month ahead of time, a month prior to that you know that's when your FAFSA letters are going to go out. And you're also going to know that you can block some time on October 2nd, October 3rd, those few days afterwards to get those FAFSAs done. That way you're on top of it, you're ahead of it, you don't feel so swamped, you're not slave to your calendar. So that's the next thing put on your calendar, that the FAFSA opens up on October 1st. The next thing you're going to want to put on your calendar, and this is a big one, are the upcoming ACT dates. These are the dates that are crucial for our routine. We know we teach, as a company, we teach our prep class in the spring, we teach our prep class in the fall. So you already know that the ACT dates are June 10th, September 9th, October 21st, December 9th. There are additional ACT dates. I already know that there's going to be one on February 11th. I already know that there's going to be one on April 8th. I'm going to go ahead and put that in my calendar as well, but I know that's not going to be as crucial for dates in terms of my prep classes. I also know SAT dates. So I know SAT dates are going to be January 21st, March 11th, May 6th, June 3rd. I don't know dates after that. I tried to look them up. They haven't come out yet, but I know I need to be watching for those. So if you know when your ACT and your SAT dates are, here's a lot of other things that you already know that you can put in place. You already know the sign-up dates. You know when the kids need to sign up without having to pay that penalty. So you can go ahead and put that in your calendar so you can alert students of that. If you know when these test dates are, you can already set up your prep classes. So I already know that our first prep class here in Lexington is going to be April 15th. I know how to back that out, and I know where we've scheduled that. If you know those dates, then you can already go ahead and start setting up your marketing plan, your marketing materials, everything you need to do to promote your class. So all of that can go ahead and start being put in place now. The other thing that you know is that you know when you want to schedule your affirmation letters. If that's a priority to you and you want to send those letters out to those students, go ahead and schedule your time to do that. That's just, it just makes it all move so much more smoothly. You know when to post it on your website. you know that you can go ahead and when you're meeting with students on their to-do list, start giving them these dates now. You just can't give dates to kids too many times. So knowing those dates helps you put all of this in place. The next thing that you get to put on your calendar is that you know that corporate training here in Lexington is going to be on January 5th from 11 to 5 and January 6th from 10 to 4. You already know those dates. So if you know that, then you can go ahead and make room reservations. If you are wanting to incorporate those 2 days into some additional maybe college trips, either visits here in Lexington or visits en route, you can go ahead and do that. I know sometimes if you're not prepared for those dates and then they come up, you always feel like, oh, I got to squeeze this in. I'll just run up. I don't know if I have time for this, but if you're planning now, you could go ahead and say, well, I'm going to take the 5th and the 6th. I know it's coming up, and I could schedule some college visits around that. So go ahead and put that on your calendar. You know, January 5th and January 6th. The next dates that you know are convention, and convention are coming up July 27th and 28th here in Lexington. I'm not exactly positive about the location, and so that I don't know, but I can go ahead and put these dates in and plan accordingly. So then when I start to look at my calendar, I see, wow, the 27th and the 28th are for convention. The 1st is Common App. I start to see that's going to be a very busy time for me, so I can plan accordingly. The next thing you want to put on your calendar is any BNI or networking meetings. If you're in a BNI group, they're meeting every week. And is it monotonous to go through the calendar and write BNI your 52 times or your 50 times for this year? Yes, but it's preparing you. And it's helping you get all of this in context. So I encourage you to go ahead and put them all in. Any other networking meetings that you might have. Kimberly and Lindsay and I here in Lexington go to Chamber of Commerce Business Links. They don't plan them too far out. You're only aware about a month ahead of time. So that makes it a little trickier for us to schedule. We have to be looking for them because they aren't every month. They're about 9 times a year. So that's a little dicier for us to try to get on the calendar, but we know that that's something we need to watch for. But if you have networking meetings or organization meetings that you know meet consistently every week or every month, go ahead and put those on your calendar. The next thing that you're going to put on your calendar, which I said I got caught putting on the other day, were conference calls. We have conference calls every Monday morning at 10 o'clock. We have marketing calls every Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock, and we have franchise development meetings first work day of the month from 10 to 12. Go ahead and schedule that priority into your calendar. So, like I say, go ahead and write those in. Your marketing calls, your franchise development meetings. Those all need to go ahead and go on your calendar. The next thing that I put on my calendar, where did I put that? Is letters that I need to send out. So I know that I'm going to want to send those senior meeting letters out on July 1st in preparation for that Common App that's going to open up on August 1st. So I already know that that's when those need to go out, and I've gone ahead and put that into my calendar so I make sure that I don't miss those. I also know that my FAFSA letters are going to want to go out September 1st, so that parents have ample time to think about that and get that information together and decide if they want me to fill out the FAFSA. And then that way I also know how much time I need to schedule on October based on how many of those I need to do. I look more prepared. It helps the parents get more prepared. Nobody's scrambling. So that's very, very beneficial to go ahead and put that on. The next thing I already know are school calendar dates. Schools are also very good at being prepared. So the 2017-2018 school calendar is already out. So I already know that the first day of school is August 16th. I already know that I will have 16 days between the time that the Common App comes out and the time that the kids need to start school that I can really, really capitalize on. I already know that fall break is going to be October 5th and 6th, so I can schedule meetings for myself on those days, and I can also alert students that that's a great time for them to be taking some college trips. And then I also know that for whatever reason, there's a random day off for us on October 27th, and I can really capitalize on that date as well. I know when spring break is. I don't know when graduation dates are for me. That may differ for you, but for me, those dates aren't set until the threat of bad weather gets past us. So I'm going to have to be watching for that. I have a general idea of when they'll be, but I'm not able to set those in stone yet. The next thing that I know, and particularly important to you, are your paperwork dates. I have paperwork that I have to turn in, and so I'm going to write in my calendar each time that those are due, so I make sure that I'm on top of them. So you have days that you have the dates when your sales reports need to be due in, you have the dates when your revenue reports need to be due in. Go ahead and write those down on your calendar so that you have scheduled time to get that paperwork organized and ready to go before you send it to Nancy. Scheduling that time for you to prepare your paperwork also just keeps you on top of things. So that's a great thing to do. Go ahead and schedule that. Then you can go ahead also and schedule important birthdays, important holidays, whatever is personally important to you that you consider a priority, go ahead and schedule that. So I'm sure I might have missed a few things, but that is basically the bulk of the things that are going to drive our year and the things that need to be put in place for us to be prepared and ready to service our students. Once you have all that scheduled in, then you can go ahead and schedule other activities that you may want to include and that will be hopefully very revenue producing for you. So some of the activities that you can set are seminars. Once you get everything else in place, then you can look at your calendar and make a decision about when would be a really good time for you to have a seminar. If you know when you're going to have your seminar, then you can go ahead and schedule your site. You can go ahead and print your flyers. You can go ahead and start your marketing very proactively. You can just get all of that in place. You can schedule your Facebook posts, everything you need to do to make sure that your seminar is successful and that you get a great group of people there that you can then talk to about college planning. You can also, if you are planning to schedule, as Donna Hill shared with us the other day, an ACT boot camp. Once you get that in place, once you know when the ACT is, once you know when your regular classes are, it's going to be very obvious to you when the best time would be to schedule a boot camp, so you could go ahead and do that. You can go ahead and start looking at your calendar and seeing when might be the best time for college visits. I know that we're going to be pulling out of here on, I believe it's June 12th. I know that. And so if I'm going to go ahead and schedule that college visit, our North Carolina, South Carolina trip that we always take, if I know when I'm going to go, then I can go ahead and schedule rooms. I can go ahead and schedule our transportation. I can go ahead and contact the colleges and say, hey, we're going to be there at this time. They would much rather hear from you ahead of time than you calling and saying, oh gosh, I'm going to be there in a couple of weeks. I hope you can squeeze me in. Oftentimes they can't. So if you know when you want to plan that visit, you can get all of that in place. Again, you can go ahead and make your flyers. You can post your flyers. You can start talking it up to students. You can start putting it on their to-do list. When we planned our trip last year, at one point there were as many as 24 people on our list because we had talked it up that much. Lots of kids have lots of things come up, and some of them canceled out, but we went with a full van of people, and it was a revenue producing activity for us because we had promoted it so far in advance. We still were able to put together the number of people that we needed for it to make money for us. So go ahead and look at those college visits. Also, if you are working and you're preparing early, you can contact some of the other franchisees. And if you want to pair up and go on a college visit together, you've given yourself ample opportunity to make those plans. The next thing that you're going to want to think about scheduling are your essay workshops this summer. So go ahead and look at your dates. Decide when you want to have them. If you're going to need to have them off-site, go ahead and secure your location. Go ahead and make up your flyers, promote it to the students. That's just really, really helpful to be able to say to him or to say to them, this is when I'm doing my essay workshops. So go ahead and get those on your calendar as well. The next thing you may want to think about are volunteer opportunities. We used to do this in Lexington, where you are always trying to help your students come up with community service activities, community service hours, leadership activities. It may be something that you want to go ahead and organize and promote and offer to your students. If you're connected with a church or you're connected with a community organization and you can get together 5 or 6 or 10 of your kids and go do it as a group, then that's something that you can proactively plan and promote among them. So that might be something that you want to do in your community and at your location. From a personal standpoint, you may want to do some goal setting. I know that Tom walked us all through a goal setting activity in January, and I'm sure he'll do that again. It's real powerful to go ahead and plan some time to do that. It's also a little bit scary because it may be something that you don't really are not comfortable with. But if you go ahead and schedule that time, you may go ahead. It's more likely that you'll go ahead and do that. We've also talked about like self-evaluating or evaluating with somebody else using that SWOT tool. So that may be something else that you want to go ahead and schedule into your calendar so that you will do it. I'm going to make sure that I'm proactively scheduling doctor's appointments, gym visits, those types of things that are going to kind of hold me accountable and move towards my own personal wellness. So that's something that's important to me, and I'm going to schedule those priorities in. So I encourage you to do that as well. Does it make you more organized? I don't know, but it helps you become more prepared for 2017. I want to share another quote with you that I found. It says, you always have time for the things that you put first. And so again, it's not really about, are you busy? It's about, have you prioritized and have you scheduled those priorities? Another thing that it does help you with is it helps you share that urgency with others. I am not always the best at putting that urgency on other people, but I think using these tools and using these calendars helps you develop that urgency among others. As I've gone through this seminar, I've said a lot. 2017 is around the corner. 2017 is coming up. 2017 is almost here. What I haven't said is 2017 is 67 days away. That really starts to plant that seed of urgency. 67 days away is not very long. It makes me more inclined to get these things in place. If you're talking to parents and you're talking to families, and it just is much more powerful, not saying, well, yeah, we're teaching ACT classes in the spring, but by saying, our first ACT prep class is April 15th. We'll have 30 people here. We'll have a room full of people here on April 15th. When you are able to identify those specific dates when something's going to happen, that's where that urgency comes, and that helps you share that urgency with them. If you're talking to them about college visits, It's one thing to say, yes, you need to see 10 colleges. You need to go on some visits. It's another thing to say, our bus is pulling out on June 12th. I hope you're with us. I hope you have a seat. So use that, again, use that calendar, not as a slave, but as a master, and to help you promote that. I was talking to a student the other day. He is a freshman. He wants to apply to a program here in Kentucky where he can go to Western Kentucky University and live his junior senior year. It's like a STEM program for them. It's their Gatton program. He's going to need an ACT score. So Mom and I are already able to have this conversation. And she says, well, I know he needs the ACT. And I was able to say to her, the test is June 10th. She was ready to say back to me, we can't take it on June 10th. We're on vacation. We go out of the country. So we already know proactively he's going to need to take that test on that April 9th date. That's a really powerful thing to say, and it really makes you look like you are on top of things, which you are, because you know those dates and you're ready. So the final things I just want to share with you all, go ahead, like I say, if you didn't have your calendar this morning, go ahead and get one, because 2017 is ready for you. If I've forgotten any of those dates, please send them to me, and I'll be happy to send them forward. And send me pictures of your day planner. I'd love to see them. Even if it's a dull black one, that's okay as well. So just one last quote. Spectacular achievement is always preceded by unspectacular preparation. So I hope you have been able to spend some time with me today doing some unspectacular preparation. And I hope that it helped set you up for spectacular achievement moving forward. Thanks so much. I appreciate you joining me on this webinar, and everybody have a great day.